the faculty, with a school like this, clearly the people here believe in a particular mission and, a kind of a larger philosophy of what education's about. And so, I think that attracts a certain type of teacher, and in our experience, it has been that you can see that in, kind of the day-to-day. Our oldest is teacher, just the way Thomas describes what he does for the class and the amount of forethought that it would require is just amazing, and it shows a passion that I think you're not going to get in other schools, just because there's sort of this winnowing out process that only particular types of very passionate educators, I think, would be attracted to an institution like this.
I would say thank you just for all the things that he's done for me. His name is Mr. White, and that been really fun, helpful, warning about the stuff clearly, teaching everything that we need to know, and even more than just what is in our books and stuff.
We had a question about something, just maybe, kind of seeing a weakness, what do you think about this? And the email that came back from the teacher was, not only detailed to
very perceptive. You know my kid better than I do.
Exactly. And Ed immediately responded wow, that was incredibly thoughtful. And I can't think of, that's just one occasion, seeing their teachers be excited about this curriculum, even on the weeks where, I'm having home days where I'm maybe not as excited just because it's just, a harder day or something. Is just really heartening knowing that there's another adult out there giving a great example to my kids. There have been a few times where we've had questions like, hey, we'd rather our son learn this in this way. Is that okay? There's never been a question about it. It's always been absolutely, but whatever's best for your child is what we're interested in. And as a parent, obviously that's the best answer you could expect. So
they realize that education isn't primarily about getting a piece of paper to make it easier for you to get a job or to more efficiently do some task. But, number one, to know and love our Lord more. And then number two, to be a more full and well-rounded human being. As they get older and kind of enter those teenage years, I would say that it's even more important to have everything that we were kind of describing before about a nurturing sort of family-like environment, positive role models and their teachers, because they're kind of soaking up so much more as teenagers, and there's a lot of not so great stuff that they could be soaking up instead, that if you can be filling them up with the true and the good and the beautiful,
and real examples of people doing that, adults doing that. I'm continually impressed by this school. Kind of when I think I know a lot about it, then something else will come to the forefront that I'll be again kind of wowed by.
But I really like the efforts to integrate multiple subjects throughout a particular year. What they read in literature or English purposes will have some sort of relationship to what they're studying in history. Again, I think it reflects sort of the integrated view that the school has of what education is, that you're educating the whole person, not just learning information to do something, but to be a better human. And you can see that reflected in the actual curriculum, how it kind of ties together very neatly and makes it easier for the child, I think, to immerse themselves in what they're doing.
Well, our girls are adopted, and so that was just a consideration for, obviously, knowing they would be here at the school, but just finding just a real love. They were embraced and loved, and we have a community here that obviously loves adoption and loves foster care, and so that was already a confirmation of what I think the environment we knew that they would have in their learning. But for Anna Ruth specifically, we also saw fairly early that she was probably going to have some difficulties. We didn't really know exactly how that was going to play out. We did adopt her from birth, but just already knowing that as she grew, just seeing some slight developmental delays, some processing issues, and not knowing what to call those or how articulate those, but those teachers in her early years, pre-K, kinder, first, really were, they were just life givers to us because they helped us identify and name some of those concerns. They validated some of the concerns that we had as parents.
As Anna Ruth was going to be school age, I knew something of what she was going to experience. Not in pre-K, I'd never had that experience, but I'd been around enough to know what pre-K was like, having observed the classroom, to know what she was going to get and to know the sort of foundation and to know, most of all, the love, both of the teachers for the students, but also the love that she would learn of exploring God's world and seeing everything as manifestations of truth, goodness, and beauty was what I wish I'd had growing up. And so to have that be something that we could offer to our girls was a pure gift.
Just continued confirmation of just the deep love that the teachers have for their students, and that no child fits in a box. No, there's no one box that is operating here at the Academy. And so I really value and appreciate that.
One of the things that I'm most happy with is, given the excellence of the education our students receive, we don't have to have the pressure of saying, we're going to have these multiple tracks and students are this or that, or you're doing this and you're specializing. Instead, saying we actually think that you, to be a fully formed human being, need to continue your study in essentially all of the subjects you've been in. It doesn't stop being important that you know math or science. It doesn't stop being important that you know languages and you know how to read well and engage with history. Those things simply deepen. They don't cease to be. There is a moral element to this. You're being formed to be someone. And we actually are as concerned about that as the skills that you're getting. And we actually think those two things marry well. But to know that she will be in a place where her teachers and her community will come around her and that will love her and be concerned for her heart. And she's also someone who's very compassionate. And so to know that she'll be in a place where that is something that's welcome and valued, and that because that's a gift that she can give to others, that will actually be a gift in the community that she will see and that will be seen and will be a cause for flourishing of those around her. And so to know that that's the sort of experience she's going to have in high school, that's not true of some other places. And that's something that we see forming her in certain ways already that I certainly didn't have and Rebecca didn't have, and which we know are therefore going to aid her in her ability and really equip her in her ability as she moves out from high school to pursue whatever God has for her, with knowing that she is equipped to do that, but also without fear, knowing that it's God who's writing her story.
We found the Academy through basically just online research initially. Also, we had some friends who had children here. We were looking for something that was based in Christianity, but also brought the classical education environment into it as well.
I went to a VIEW event and was so impressed with just what I was hearing, the kindness of, everyone I interacted with. Of course, they took us around. We talked to, the different students that came out. They were just also articulate and joyful. So I knew this was something we needed to, investigate, see if this could be a place for us. The more that we looked, things just seemed to be exactly what we were looking for.
Prior to coming here, all of our children had been at another school that was a Christian school as well. But we came to realize there were some issues there that we weren't sure met the needs of what we were looking for. And so the Academy, we felt better suited the needs of our children.
First, so she started in kindergarten, and they've just been fabulous. So fortunately for her, she's got to have 2 years now with the same teacher who just happened to move up with her to first grade, Miss Ray, who has been just amazing with her. She always sends her home with just confidence and love, and knowing that she's forgiven and that, tomorrow's a new day, and, even it's a new minute. I was asking her if there were anything that, was there anything that happened at school that, you want to tell me or whatever. And she said, well, I mean, I guess there is something. And I was like, okay, what? Kind of preparing for whatever. And she said, well, I had to do a redo on the stairs because, we were jumping up the stairs. So I just did a redo. And I thought, oh my gosh, it's so sweet. I don't know. There's something about that. I loved that was even, offered. That's the love that she's being showered, on all day, every day. Any little thing that comes up, it's just the way it's handled is just with such love and grace. She knows that, who she belongs to and that she's forgiven.
The joy with which she approaches school now. I think before, and granted, it was simply a pre-K experience before, but I think she was a little more fearful of school, fearful of breaking a rule or messing up or such. But here I don't experience that. I think she just has a much greater joy when it comes to being at school. Transitioning to the classical model, there were some definite challenges, but I think she's been supported amazingly well and has made the transition great. And now we're through the first semester of high school, and she's doing fabulous.
She said, Mom, I just need to let you know I love school. And okay. And she said, no, I really do. I don't want you to think I don't like school just because it's challenging. I love this school.
I've found a love of learning that I've never ever had before. I come to school and I'm challenged in a healthy way. And that helps me to want to know more. The teachers teach in such a way that I am interested in the subjects and I want to come to class, and there's a curiosity that I have now that I definitely didn't have in my previous years at other schools.
She wants to learn. She loves going to school. She loves the subject matters. Doesn't matter what class she's in. She loves it.
She said, all of the teachers there are really, they're not called mentors, but they really are mentors. They mentor us. They love us. They really care about us.
I've gone to many of the teachers just struggling, and instead of saying, oh, I'm sorry, I can't meet with you, or we need to meet another time, they approach me and say, hey, I've noticed something's wrong, or hey, I noticed that this is looking really hard and you're looking confused. Can I help you with this? Like, they care so much about their students.
I noticed she was reading a book that looked like something I had probably never read in high school. And so very difficult. And so I asked her about it, just, kind of, how is the book? And she just started telling me all the details about the book.
We just started Plutarch, Life of Antony, and we just finished the Aeneid. So that was super good. Highly recommended.
Already, she's only been there a semester, and she had no exposure really to Greek or any kind of classical literature. So it wasn't that she was just reading it for the test. I could tell from this conversation that she had learned it. Like, why do you think they have you reading that? And she said, because we have to study mankind. That's how we are going to learn about how to become more virtuous. And I was so moved. I thought, she's connecting, like she gets it. She understands